The Bucks are almost out of the woods, or mountains, of their West Coast trip against the Nuggets.
Spin move by Giannis in a big one-hand flush. He was a blur taking it down the lane, and the Greek Freak is putting on a show.
Our coverage starts tonight at 7:30. We are your home for the Milwaukee Bucks. News Radio 620 WTMJ, Milwaukee.
Good morning. 9 o'clock. We have 36 degrees. Look for partly cloudy skies today with highs 45 lakeside, about 52 inland. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Connie Weber. More texts have been released by the reporter who was added to a group text with Trump administration officials about airstrikes in Yemen. The Atlantic published what it said were additional messages from the Signal group that included Vice President Vance and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, among others. It comes after President Trump and officials in his administration went after the outlet and its editor, Jeffrey Goldberg, for the first report that was released, saying the text included no classified information. Here's ABC's Martha Raddatz.
In 2021, a Pentagon internal watchdog report found Signal to be an unauthorized means of communicating sensitive information and breached the department's records retention policies.
Goldberg and an Atlantic writer said the statements by the president led them to releasing everything to the public so they can decide for themselves. Vice President Vance now says he'll travel to Greenland, joining what was meant to be a trip for his wife, one of their kids, and National Security Advisor Mike Waltz. CBS News senior White House correspondent Ed O'Keefe has more details.
The vice president says there was so much excitement surrounding his wife's trip, he didn't want her to have all that fun by herself. The trip makes him the highest-ranking American official to visit since President Trump suggested he wants to bring Greenland, a self-governing territory of Denmark, under U.S. control.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem today tours that prison in El Salvador where hundreds of U.S. deportees are being held. Noem claims the prison's holding illegal immigrants with ties to a Venezuelan gang. El Salvador, the first leg of Noem's trip that will also include stops in Colombia and Mexico. Investigating a death at an old Milwaukee mall, police found a body inside the vacant building at Fond du Lac and North on Milwaukee's northwest side Tuesday afternoon. Cause of death of the 65-year-old still under investigation, but police do not suspect foul play. Decision Wisconsin, candidates for state superintendent focus on reading.
Candidates say they're focused on making sure that students are well trained in reading proficiency, especially in urban communities like Milwaukee that have seen large learning gaps. Candidate Brittany Kinzer.
We have to make sure that we're using research and evidence-based curriculum, and we have to make sure that our teachers are trained, they've been educated on how to teach phonics.
Incumbent candidate Dr. Jill Underley.
High standards for literacy and math, absolutely. High quality instruction, early childhood programming, special education, well-trained teachers, passionate teachers, after-school programs. We know what works.
Sean Brenda, WTMJ News.
With opening day less than a week away, the Brewers have a new concession area that's all food trucks. Brewers President for Business Operations Rick Schlesinger tells Wisconsin's Afternoon News what food items will be presented to fans.
I just went there today, and it's all ready to go for opening day, which is always nice when you announce something and it's ready to go. It's going to be great. We've got food trucks, we've got Italian food, we've got tacos, we've got some steak sandwiches, we've got gelato, we've got a really nice bar.
Brewers face off against the Kansas City Royals on Monday. Masters Week on the horizon, and a pair of junior golfers from Wisconsin will represent the state of the finals at the annual drive, chip, and putt competition.
15-year-old Abigail Henriksen of DeForest and 15-year-old Jared Romano of Darien are two of the 80 junior golfers vying for the title at one of the most iconic and exclusive golf clubs in America.
I lay in my bed at night thinking, this is just unbelievable. I get to go to Augusta National and get to putt on the 18th green.
Romano qualified by winning the competition at TPC Deer Run in Iowa in his final year of eligibility.
Just crazy seeing me on top of the leaderboard.
The competition will be televised on the Golf Channel April 6th. Greg Matzik, WTMJ News.
Time for news about your money and the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is up 158 points. The Nasdaq down even a little bit more than that, down 168. S&P 500 is off 15 points. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 9:04.
He's Donald Trump's right-hand man, Elon Musk. And now Musk is trying to buy Brad Schimmel a seat on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. Because Musk knows when you buy Schimmel, he'll do whatever you want. Like when Schimmel gave a plea deal to a man caught with child porn, after the man's lawyer gave Schimmel thousands of dollars. And Schimmel will ban abortion, with no exceptions for rape, incest, or the health of the mother. Deeply corrupt and totally extreme. That's the real Brad Schimmel. There's a better choice.
I'm Judge Susan Crawford. As a former prosecutor and now as a judge, I've made sure rapists, murderers, and child predators were behind bars.
Protecting your family and your most basic rights. That's Judge Susan Crawford.
And I trust women to make their own healthcare decisions. Brad Schimmel doesn't, but I always will.
So on April 1st, vote for Judge Susan Crawford, Supreme Court. Paid for by Susan Crawford for Wisconsin.
For over a century, local broadcasting has evolved with the needs of the community. We move past the stigmas of opinion journalism and bring the most relevant news online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
Siding Unlimited, named the best window installers, not just here, but in the whole USA. Get the best. Siding Unlimited, 5-time winner as America's best window installer. For windows, you call Siding Unlimited first and directly. SidingUnlimited.com.
Are you concerned with AMD? Now protecting your eyes is easier thanks to New Nordic's Blueberry Eye Supplements, available now at Amazon.com or NewNordicUSA.com.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. Bucks wrap up their road trip tonight in Denver against the Nuggets. Bucks are still 5th in the East. Team announced yesterday Damian Lillard dealing with a blood clot in his right calf and is out indefinitely. He's averaging almost 25 points per game. Brewers gearing up for opening day. Team squares off against the Yankees tomorrow afternoon for the first of 3 games in the Bronx. Freddie Peralta gets the start while New York counters with Carlos Rodon. Taking a look at the roads now with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. The ramp from Highway 23 east to I-43 south was closed because of a crash up in Sheboygan. It looks like that has been cleared off. There is still a crash blocking the right shoulder, I-43 south at the ramp from Highway 145 in Fond du Lac Avenue. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Partly cloudy today, highs 45 lakeside, 52 inland, cloudy with some isolated showers late tonight, overnight low 36. Isolated morning showers tomorrow, mostly cloudy, high 53. A chance for Friday morning showers, should be dry in the afternoon and evening. Highs Friday 68 lakeside, 72 inland. Chance of showers, maybe even some storms on Saturday with a high 58. Sunday a chance for rain again and maybe a wintry mix possible in the evening with a high of 44. 32 in Madison, 25 in Green Bay, 36 in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 9:08.
Good morning, Wisconsin. So let's pour that coffee and talk to some experts about what's going on in Milwaukee, Madison, Washington, and beyond. Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue in beautiful downtown Milwaukee. It's the Political Power Hour on WTMJ. Here's your host, Steve Scaffidi.
Should we talk about the government?
Oh, happy hump day, everybody, for those who celebrate. I have to say that because I think it's so funny, Annie Schwartz, when I call it hump day.
I just always think of Michael Strahan doing the camel noise.
Yeah, it always makes me smile. And, as much bad news as we have, there's often good news and things to talk about. So I always welcome your appearances. You've been gone. You've been traveling and speaking at different
doing a lot
events.
Of work,
yeah.
doing a lot of speaking.
A lot of people ask, where have you been? So what's the answer?
Where have I been? Well, yesterday I was in scenic Stevens Point.
I love Stevens Point, by the way.
Which, at 2.5 hours, I'm not a car girl. I don't love being in the car. 2.5 hours in the car is like somebody really just kill me.
Uh-huh.
But what I love doing is I love doing the work. So I train first-line supervisors, police supervisors. This is through a program that our Department of Justice offers, which is kind of a number of different modules to teach young police officers who are just getting into a supervisory role all the different things they're going to have to know. So there's a module on internal investigations. They learn about officer-involved shooting investigations.
You shared with me something about that I thought was sort of shocking. The number of incidents.
I looked out. I've been doing this for so many years. I've been doing this a long, long time, doing this training for law enforcement, for prosecutors. And I guess that in some way, because my head hasn't really changed in the way that I think about law enforcement, some of the tactics have. But I'll tell you that when I asked the class, I said, all right, everybody who knows somebody or has been close to an officer-involved shooting, raise your hand. It's 30 people in the class. And they're from smaller municipalities. They're from sheriff's offices up north. That's why the DOJ has the classes in different parts of the state. So I am always grateful for that time, because what I get to do is I get to find out what young officers are thinking about. What are they worried about? What are they not worried about?
Are they different? I guess it's sort of a generalization and your perception of it. Are they different young men and women than they used to be? Obviously, the difference is there's more women than there used to be, because there's none in the beginning of many of these departments. So are they different when they come into the job now? Are they more educationally trained through like programs like MATC has a program? What's the difference?
One of the things that we hope for young officers, one of the things that we hope for them is that they will carry through on the ideals that they have had. Oh, little cough, but I'm better now. See, it's been so long since I learned how to use a microphone. I'm lucky I hit the cough button and didn't take us out offline. One of the things that I always hope and pray for young officers is that they continue to carry through the ideals that brought them to the job in the first place. And it is so easy nowadays with things that you're You're welcome, Mom. I did that. Yeah, I did a mom word.
You could almost said whoopsie-daisy there.
Oh my gosh, fiddlesticks. So what I see is that they get jaded so much quicker than they used to. And I think it's because of all the things that they're exposed to. They are seeing more police shootings, and because of the internet, they're also seeing more videos of these things, of these encounters. It gives them more to think about. But they're also kind of that generation of, wait, I got to work a weekend? Well, I got a vacation. I got to
Right.
go. I have a vacation to
They
go
think
to.
about some other things as well. It's just their job.
They're not, they're not hungry for that overtime, really, like you used to see guys. We used to call them just overtime hounds,
One of the things that we've talked about a lot, even while you were gone, is the sort of the arrival, albeit a year plus late, of SROs in Milwaukee
Finally.
public schools. What have you heard? What are you hearing about as it comes? It seems like there's been very few incidents, and from what I can tell from the comments of the new superintendent of MPS and some of the other high-ranking people in the administration there, that things have gone pretty smoothly.
What I believe, and again, I come here and talk to you about my observations on law enforcement. It's not necessarily the be all end all, but I'll tell you that I think that the most valuable function that those officers who are assigned to the schools are going to be able to perform is an intel function, an intelligence function.Ey're going to hear when things are going on. They're going to, I don't think it's to stop the next fight in the hallway, although I suppose that's...
They've always been called in for those anyway.
They've always been. Alex Ayala, the president of the Milwaukee Police Association, has
show.
said, we're already there.
Yeah, there's thousands of incidents.
One of the pieces of the argument, though, that made me crazy, and I'm getting older, so it doesn't take much to make me crazy anymore. This made me crazy to hear the public say, but they need to get the training. They have to get the training. They have to get the training. I thought, it's not like these guys worked at a 7-Eleven last week, and now today they got to go in police. So
here's a gun. Go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So they were already cops, and they're already cops that know what they're doing. So.
Yeah, so I think that's a good story. I'm still concerned that it took that long to get these officers in place. I'm an advocate of SROs. I've known a bunch of them over my career as a public official and certainly as someone who does this for a living. And every time I talk to one of these men or women, they always comment on how great the relationship is between not just the officers in the administration, but the students themselves. Mm-hmm. And I think that it's sort of an acknowledgement that there is a relationship that matters there. And we talk a lot about community-oriented policing. That's a real demonstration of how that can work effectively. You got to take a break. Annie Schwartz, our guest for the next few minutes. After the break, We're certainly going to have a big election coming up. Some of you have already voted, as have I. But April 1st, big election in the state of Wisconsin. What is law enforcement, public safety thinking about in terms of security and other concerns about that election? We will get to that with Andy Schwartz, our guest on the Political Power Hour, 620 WTMJ.
Wisconsin's Midday News, bringing you the latest in news.
A new bill to fund the federal government will cut millions from Wisconsin projects.
Sports.
The Bucs just aren't that good. They've not beaten the top 3 teams in the Eastern Conference.
Traffic.
I've never heard of this. I don't think I've ever seen this, and I have done traffic for years in different situations.
And weather.
Well, sun is shining, still chilly, however.
Join Greg Matzik and Jessica Ty, only on WTMJ.
Hey, this is WTMJ, Steve Scaffidi for Milwaukee Weight Loss. I was just talking to somebody off the show about this. Yes, it works, folks. And if you watch the stream, you can see that I've already lost about 36.5 pounds. I'm now on the maintenance side of this, so my goal is to maintain that for the next year or so. So it's the secret, I say to everybody, to losing 1 pound of fat every day. Their doctors develop easy-to-follow weight loss programs, helps you lose weight fast. Mine was about 2 months, naturally, safely, with no drugs, no injections, no serious side effects, no prepackaged meals, bars, shakes. You don't even have to exercise if you don't want to. Their program helps reset your metabolism so you can keep the weight off for good. With a coach, mine coach is Emily, who's fantastic. All our coaches are amazing. I've worked with a bunch of them. Their program costs up to half as much and works up to twice as fast as most other programs. Go to MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com, MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com to schedule your free consultation. Most patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in about a month or two. It's crazy to see your body lose that weight, but I can tell you it feels great. Try carrying around 35 pounds in your arms and tell me what that feels like. So schedule your free consultation by calling 262-449-1180 or online at MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. That's MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Results may vary.
When the prodigal son ran out of money and was eating from the pig trough, he didn't have much hope things would get better. However, the son's father welcomed him home with open arms. This is Archbishop Jeffrey Grob. During this Jubilee year, the Holy Father has asked us to be signs of hope for others. For the poor and the elderly, a sign of hope could be a meal, a visit, or even just a warm smile from one stranger to another. This Lent, let's show others this kind of hope and share the love of Jesus. Please join us at Mass.
One of the few people on this program has their own walk-up music. That's because she's earned it. Andy Schwartz, law enforcement communications expert.
Even when she hasn't walked up in,
Yeah, well, you've been busy.
There's been a lot going on. There's been a lot going on, and a lot of times it's, there are things that I can't bring to the program here and talk to you about, but always out there working with law enforcement statewide and trying to help them through whether it's a police-involved shooting or it is cyber attacks on municipalities. I also work on those.
And that's a serious problem, trust me. I've talked to some municipality leaders who are dealing with that situation.
Absolutely. And when it happens in the private sector, they don't necessarily have to tell anybody.
Right.
But you got to tell your board, and that's a not fun meeting.
So we've got an election that's already ongoing. People are early voting. I've already cast my ballots. A lot of folks like to show up on Election Day, April 1st, first Tuesday in April. What's law enforcement, public safety thinking about in terms of this election, some of the things? There's obviously some threats out there. There's some other concerns that we hear about, but we don't hear everything. What's public safety saying about the election?
What I'm hearing from a lot of officers about the upcoming election, and you know what? When I look at elections, even though it is indeed the political power hour, I'm pretty powerless when it comes to, politics, but I do want what's good for law enforcement. And I want what makes it easier for us to get, bad guys off the street. I'm watching the Supreme Court election, just like everybody is. Full disclosure, I was Brad Schimmel's communications director when he was Attorney General.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah, sure. It's hard
Brad's
for
a friend of mine as well. What does Brad Schimmel bring to this job?
I'll tell you, it's hard for me to see the negative ads. That hurts. It hurts my heart. I got to say so, because I have covered Brad Schimmel as a reporter since he was a DA in Waukesha. He was my friend, and I worked for him. We have continued to talk with one another. To even intimate that he is soft in any way on crime is ridiculous. It's
part of the insanity of politics.
I spent his first year, which I promised him I would do. I spent his first year as AG working with him, And any insinuation that he is not, for the victims of crime, that he is, again, soft on crime, when it comes to, sexual assault, I mean, he was a huge advocate when he was in the DA's office. And again, when he got to the AG's office. And again, I understand campaigns are campaigns, and both sides. I don't know Susan Crawford. I've never met her, so I can't speak to her. The only candidate I can speak about is Brad, because I have known him so long. If I have to call him Justice Schimmel, though, it's really going to hurt my head.
Right.
I told him I wasn't going to call him General when he was AG, and he was fine with that.
Yeah.
But I remember when we were doing the Dose of Reality campaign, where we were going after fentanyl and we were going after.
He was on the show talking about that while you were doing this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were, going after opiates, going after, the misuse of those kinds of drugs. It was his passion. I saw him cry with parents. I saw him, talk to people who have lost their children. As speaking of children, I also know that, I know Brad's story as far as, his two daughters and how he and his wife, Sandy, were able to adopt them from their birth mothers. Brad's not a zealot when it comes to, women's rights.
I think a lot of people are
personal.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of people are also intrigued by the fact that he has that law enforcement background, which I don't know. We've had someone on the Wisconsin Supreme Court that has that sort of a resume, which I think is intriguing to people. I always love the text that we get on the show. This is from Bob in Waukesha, frequent listener. I met Steve and Annie. I met my one and only wife 50 years ago on the job. Female officers weren't treated the same by any stretch. I was also an SRO before the position had a title. Bob was a longtime police officer. Supporting from the school administrators was essential. Bob from Waukesha, retired sergeant, Miami-Dade Police Department.
Absolutely. And I remember when we had school resource officers when they weren't called that either. I started my reporting career in 1987. I know, it's just take a pause to remember all the, zygotes in the newsrooms around the state that don't remember that. But that was a pivotal time because Milwaukee police, for example, were just coming off of Harold Breyer. There was a real old school kind of way. And I have talked to officers, by the way, who work for now chiefs who were once upon a time police officers that I knew in Milwaukee. And they say it's a different animal. They are very. We really don't like talking to the media. We really don't. They don't want to hear about the innovative thing. And I was complimented by an officer yesterday who said, "I love that you come to these classes and talk about innovative ideas." Because innovation in policing is almost an oxymoron.
Well, remember the harsh pushback against social media when that was the thing? Now,
oh my gosh!
I just looked. Like Oak Creek Police Department's Facebook page is like 30,000 followers. Those are great resources.
Steve, you know what? When we went at the Milwaukee Police Department, when Nan Haggerty was chief, and she said, and one of the reasons she had brought me in was to do some of these things, and I said, let's brand the department. Let's do a branding campaign for the police department. You worked in that business. You know what a branding campaign's all about. And people looked at me like the dog does when it watches television. They're like, what is she talking about? And it was very successful. We also dipped our toe in the world of social media. And it was scary because I remember, some of the commanders saying to me, well, we don't want people to talk back to us. It's like, well, welcome to the world, baby girl. This is what it's going to look like now.
Yeah, it's a great resource for departments now.
It is. It's a great way to communicate. It also does allow the community to talk back. Typically, I find that when it's a law enforcement agency that owns a page, they don't necessarily get, negative people coming on there and saying things. And if they do, open records law. They got to leave it.
There's sort of a built-in safety net because who wants to be the person, the troll that jumps on the police department's social media and starts going after them? It's sort of a cautionary tale for people who have tried to do that. They are aware of what's posted on their sites.
It's like, don't put the sharp end of the stick in your eye. Yeah.
She is Annie Schwartz. She's joining for a couple more minutes. She has a special recollection she wants to pass on to all of us. After the break, you're listening, of course, to the Hump Day edition, Wednesday edition of the Political Power Hour, 620. Shake your head at me, producer Jazz. Hump Day. I'm still calling it that. Old school. More next.
Spanning the State with Kristen Bry and Brian Noonan.
If I had to see the same amount of ads, I would rather those ads
actually informing you?
Yes. Tell me what that candidate is going to do, not made up garbage about what the other one did in your fantasy world. That's not what I want.
Tell us what you're going to do. How are these people supposed to campaign given what the nature of the job is? They're going to respond to the cases that come in front of them.
Yes.
Stop talking about the other person. We want to be more informed.
Only on WTMJ.
Hey, it's WTMJ Steve. If you're Avon, I never get tired about Avon because it changed my life. It can change your life as well. Poor sleep, tossing and turning, snoring. Are those your realities? Is that the reality for your bed partner? Don't put up with it. I went to Advent. 30-minute visit. They put me at ease. I talked to their docs, too, on my first visit. We did a really simple sleep study at home in my own bed. They determined my problem, very common problem, sinuses and nasal passages, just not getting enough air. Well, I had the procedure. Very short procedure, less than a half hour. I'm breathing better than ever, more than enough oxygen to keep this brain going, which is always active, as you know. My wife and Kathy and I sleep with you the whole night. That's a given now. If you struggle like I used to, take the time to see Advent can help you. To find out how breathing well and sleeping well can make your nights better, go to adventknows.com and schedule an appointment today, because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Your stress-free spring break trip starts in your driveway with Go Right Way, Wisconsin's largest chauffeured fleet. Start your vacation as soon as you leave your house by letting Go Right Way handle your rides to and from Mitchell Field or O'Hare. Luggage? Go Right Way has it. Traffic? Go Right Way handles it. Parking hassles? You won't miss them. Go Right Way's professional, on-time chauffeurs are background checked and their vehicles are premium and meticulously cleaned. Your journey starts with a ride you can trust. Book your ride today at GoRightWay.com.
The Lifetime Door Free Garage Door Contest is almost over. Time is running out to win a brand new garage door from Lifetime Door. Absolutely free. This contest ends March 31st. Don't miss the chance to win a stunning, high-quality garage door that will boost your home's curb appeal and values. Entering is easy. Text GARAGE to the WTMJ Talk and Text line, or just go to WTMJ.com and the entry form is on the very front page. It's just that simple. For contest rules, visit our website, WTMJ.com.
The wait is over. Brewers baseball is back. Time to pick your Brewers games and get back to the ballpark for tailgate traditions and walk-off wins. Be here for opening day. Come back for the big games and the best giveaways. Where else would you want to be? Brewers tickets for the 2025 season are on sale now. That's opening day and every game, all summer long. Get on board for the show today. Grab your seats at brewers.com/ticket finder.
At the Marcus last night, unbelievable. I'll give all of you. I'm going to talk about it a little bit later in the show as well. But if you love the music, which he had 39 top 10 hits,
how do you not?
But the performances are outstanding, especially the one that plays young Neil and the woman that plays his second wife, Marcia. Trust me, singing and dancing are her forte. And I was sitting next to my wife, going, "Wow, I need more Marcia in my life." She was unbelievable. Anyway. Wow. That's my Neil Diamond tribute discussion. All right.
You've never steered me wrong on a recommendation.
Go see it. If you can, go see it. It's at the Marcus until Sunday. All right.
I'm going to try to get through this one. This is a hard one for me. These are hard, and this one is really hard. Those of us who are friends and worked with him in the police department lost a dear, dear friend, Jimmy Campbell. He was a captain in District 1. We lost him on March 14th, which is only a couple of weeks ago. A lot of us are still reeling from that news.
Tell us about him.
I want to talk about Jimmy because that's what he would like. I think it's important when we find out that officers die in various ways. We say, don't talk about the way they died. Talk about the way they lived. And Jimmy was amazing. He was a leader. He was an incredible district captain. He was a voracious Packer fan. That's easy to say about so many people that I worked with at the department. But his two boys, his boys were absolutely his world, and they're not even in high school yet. And so they are preparing for a life that will be very different than the one they imagined. Jimmy was with the Milwaukee Police Department for 25 years. He had just retired Whether or not that's a factor, I don't know. Sometimes it is. The sad thing is you never know. We're never going to know. But he retired as the captain of the Special Investigations Unit. He was one of the people that got Code Red off the ground downtown. You talk to anybody who's a business owner in downtown Milwaukee, and they know Jimmy Campbell.
Jimmy Campbell, rest in peace. Always tough to talk about those. Annie, we'll have you back more often now that you've done a lot of traveling, so we'll have to get you back on. Always love to see your smiling face, which
I like.
Your face is skinnier because I know you lost some weight as well.
I'm doing a thing.
As am I. All right. After the break, you know him as a Washington County Executive Josh Showman. Lots to talk about. We're going to run some national stories by him as well, see what he's got on his mind. We have, of course, the latest from Connie Weber on local news. Before we get to any of that, here's not the latest from ABC.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. The Supreme Court in a 7-2 decision this morning ruling that manufacturers of so-called ghost guns should be required to put serial numbers on them and that buyers should be subject to age limits and background checks. ABC's Devin Dwyer with more.
A significant decision here at a time when the nation is facing a crisis of ghost guns. Those are the untraceable weapons that most often are made at home from kits or homemade parts. It makes it difficult for police to track, but also we're seeing a rise in criminals and teenagers simply buying these online with no age checks, no background checks, basically no restrictions.
On Capitol Hill, the House Intelligence Committee is holding more hearings on the Signal Group text in which an attack on Houthi rebels was discussed. Journalist Jeffrey Goldberg, who was inadvertently included in the chat, has today published more details about what was said. Fires raging through South Korea, killing 24 people in all. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 9:31. I'm Connie Weber. A man involved in an officer-involved shooting charged now with felony burglary. 34-year-old Orlando Lagar allegedly tried to break into a warehouse near 32nd and Villard on Milwaukee's northwest side earlier this month. Police chased him and a 41-year-old man with him. Shots were fired at both. The other man died. Lagar being held on $1,500 bond. Shooting early this morning seriously hurt a 24-year-old. Happened around 4 a.m. near McKinley and Hawley on Milwaukee's west side. At this point, nobody's been arrested. 7 bank branches in Wisconsin will be closing in the first quarter of 2025, more than 320 nationwide. 2 U.S. bank locations, those at 26th and Wisconsin in Milwaukee and at Blue Mound and Calhoun and Wauwatosa, are closing, as is the Wells Fargo in downtown Milwaukee. The Chase Bank at Packard and Layton and Cudahy will be relocating as well. Time for news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Still a mixed bag on Wall Street. The Dow up 144. 42,732. NASDAQ down 207 at 18,064. The S&P 500 is down 19 at 5,756. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Taking a look at your roads now with your WTMJ Johnson & Son Paving Time Saver traffic. Some broken down vehicles. It looks like most of them are off to the shoulder, out of the lanes. One's going to be I-41 south about a half mile beyond the ramp from County K. It is blocking the left shoulder. I-43 north at Highway 145, Fond du Lac Avenue, right shoulder there blocked due to a disabled vehicle. And 41 north at Blue Mound Road, the right shoulder there also blocked due to a disabled vehicle. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. Partly cloudy today with highs 45 to 52 inland. Mostly cloudy with isolated showers late tonight. Overnight low 36. Isolated showers tomorrow morning, then mostly cloudy 53. Chance for morning rain on Friday, maybe even a storm. Should be dry by the afternoon. High 68 lakeside, 72 inland. Chance for showers, maybe even some storms on Saturday with a high of 58. And a chance of rain on Sunday, maybe a wintry mix possible Sunday night, high 44. 32 in Madison, 25 in Green Bay, 36 in Milwaukee. I'm Connie Weber. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 9:34.
Enjoy a free dinner this week at the historic Fox and Hounds, one of the most unique and affordable supper clubs in Wisconsin. WTMJ's John Mercure here. I love the Fox and Hounds, one of my very favorite places. You will enjoy fabulous food and 90 years of history in the gorgeous stone and timber building. When you buy one dinner, your second dinner is free every single night, free. Seafood, choice steaks, short ribs, a real favorite, pasta, prime rib Wednesday and Saturday, even the steak and lobster, your second dinner is always free. Desserts and ice cream drinks, buy one, get one free. I love that chocolate cake with the extra ice cream. Unwind with an old-fashioned, a Manhattan, 20 bourbons to choose from, 100 wines from around the world. Wherever you live, it's worth the spectacular drive through the Kettle Moraine Forest for your free dinner. Just off Highway 167, 2 miles east of Holy Hill, escape from your kitchen with a free dinner this week. Man, that sounds great. Call and reserve, foxandhoundsrestaurant.com.
He's Donald Trump's right-hand man, Elon Musk. And now Musk is trying to buy Brad Schimmel a seat on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. Because Musk knows when you buy Schimmel, he'll do whatever you want. Like when Schimmel gave a plea deal to a man caught with child porn after the man's lawyer gave Schimmel thousands of dollars. And Schimmel will ban abortion with no exceptions for rape, incest, or the health of the mother. Deeply corrupt and totally extreme. That's the real Brad Schimmel. There's a better choice.
I'm Judge Susan Crawford. As a former prosecutor and now as a judge, I've made sure rapists, murderers, and child predators were behind bars.
Protecting your family and your most basic rights. That's Judge Susan Crawford.
And I trust women to make their own healthcare decisions. Brad Schimmel doesn't, but I always will.
So on April 1st, vote for Judge Susan Crawford, Supreme Court. Paid for by Susan Crawford for Wisconsin.
I just mentioned earlier, there's very few people that have their own walk-up music, and of course Annie Schwartz. That girl is on fire. She always says and does things that spur audience conversation. And this guy, I should give him a title, Washington County Executive Josh Shulman, joins me once a month, just sort of talking about politics and leader. Probably, I should restate that. We talk about leadership.
Yeah.
Because that's really, for me, one of the reasons you're here once a month is because I respect strong, smart, innovative. That's enough praise for
Good
you.
looking. Oh,
I didn't get to that part.
Face for radio. Come on.
So I know you have an op-ed that's online right now at JS Online, and I know it'll be in the print edition if you still get that. Not many people do anymore, of the Journal Sentinel about Act 10. You've been very vocal on this issue, as have I. And there's things I love about Act 10, things I don't like about Act 10, but I want to give you a chance to sort of flesh it out for people.
Yeah.
Because this is one of the fundamental core issues that our Wisconsin Supreme Court is going to be facing either before August or certainly after August. And it's, if you're a fan of Act 10, it might be on life support, given you know, there's been one recusal already, and you know where this story goes. As somebody who leads a community, in your case, a county, Washington County, your opinion, your take on Act 10 and how it represents an important piece of what you do in your daily life as county executive.
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, to your point at the beginning, like this is policy over politics, and good policy is good politics. Happy Hump Day to all those who celebrate.
Awesome.
Okay.
I like that he listens.
I do listen. This particular thing is really important. So I was a public employee when Act 10 happened, and it was life-changing for anybody who was in the public sector at the time. And then, of course, that became something in politics that was life-changing for anybody who lived through it. But what people seem to forget is we had I think $3.2 or $3.6 billion deficit in 2010 and 2011.
They have forgotten about that.
They have forgotten. And it was a big part of the 2010 campaign. It is really what differentiated, at the time, County Executive Scott Walker with Mayor Tom Barrett, who were both running for governor. That massive deficit, I mean, either you're going to raise taxes and offset the deficit, or you're going to make reforms and cuts and changes. And that election is won on that issue. And then, of course, the legislature goes through the process. It makes huge changes. So I was a public employee at the time. Prior to Act 10, 100% of my retirement contribution is paid for by the village. 100%.
Mm-hmm.
That I mean, at the time when it was changed to 50-50, it was like a huge hit to my pocketbook.
People don't understand how the old reality played out.
Yeah.
The municipalities, and use whatever level you want, they incurred all of those costs.
Right.
Which was
State, schools,
a massive budget challenge for local leaders.
Yes, exactly. And so to have that shift was, Governor Walker, I think, used to refer to it as the tools for municipalities and schools. It was a huge benefit. But to us as employees, it was like, oh my gosh. Well, when you look back now in hindsight and you think, if we wouldn't have done that, what would the tax increases have been like at that time? And now you fast forward 15 years later, and it's we're trying to relitigate all of that. It feels like it's been this never-ending fight. First it was the recalls, and then it was Walker's reelection, and then it was 2018, and now all of these court fights, and now here we sit with the potential of this, Dane County judge deems it unconstitutional and probably going to make its way up to the Supreme Court. If that gets undone, we're relitigating all of those decisions.
Real life, real time, what would the impacts be for Washington County or other local leaders?
It's a devastating impact to every local government, school, technical college, even the state. For county government, Washington County, we're the 10th largest county. We collect about $36 million in property taxes per year. If this changes, just retirement, not health insurance, not the other benefits, just retirement, it's a $3.2 million hit, almost a 10% increase in property taxes. And then remember, your property tax bill is, of course, the county, your town, village, or city, the school, technical college, and some have others. So it's that times 4 or 5 or 6. It will be massive. So yes, it's devastating the local budgets. I don't know where I'd come up with $3.2 million. But it's catastrophic to the taxpayer.
And I think somewhere in your piece, because I read it quickly this morning, there's the concept of retroactive pay.
Yeah.
How does that factor into this?
So if it's unconstitutional, that means it's never been constitutional. So that you're rewinding the tape 15 years, and someone somewhere's got to go, well, wait a minute. If it's not constitutional today, it wasn't then. What happens to all of those payments? What happens to all of those contributions that were never made?
What do you say to the folks that say, well, law enforcement, public safety were exempt? Do you understand what that signifies to some of the people in the general public?
I would say, and if we were sitting here with the WPPA, the Police Association, and all of those, the sheriff's deputies and all those, most of them have negotiated those things into their contracts now. So I think this is pretty much old hat for the most part. Our Deputy Sheriff's Association has negotiated in the health insurance the same way every other employee, retirement the same way every other employee. I don't think it's as big of an issue as people make it out to be. This is really this is where policy turns into politics. It just becomes a political football.
Washington County Executive Josh Shulman here for this half hour. Lots more to talk about. I'm talking about some national stories as well because I know he has a take on some of this stuff. 9:42, you're listening, of course, to 620 WTMJ.
Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-hoo!
Visit family-owned Ken Michaels Furniture and our in-store design centers where you'll still find beautiful, luxurious, heirloom-quality American-made furniture. Right now, save 30 to 35% store-wide and take advantage of our complimentary design services. Whether you're moving, renovating, or updating, our designers will help your vision become a reality. Visit Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield on Capitol Drive and in Greenfield on Highway 100 to save 30 to 35% store-wide today. Sleep better and save more with mattresses from Milwaukee Mattress and Ken Michaels Furniture. Handcrafted in our Milwaukee factory, our mattresses utilize natural materials like cotton cushioning, which dissipates body heat, Joma wool quilts for warm wintry nights and cool summer evenings, and natural latex providing superior conformability and pressure relief for aching joints. Stop in today at any Ken Michaels Furniture store and save up to 50% compared to national brands.
Hey, this is Steve Scaffidi from WTMJ talking about Heiser Automotive. I love talking about Heiser. My customer, I just bought a new car last year. Beautiful Chevy Trailblazer. And I get to drive right now a Chevy Silverado, 1500 LT. Great gas mileage, by the way. 24 city, 29 highway. Looks fantastic. Always can see it in a parking lot. People always beep at me when I'm driving it around because I think they see the Heiser plates and maybe they recognize me, maybe they don't. Maybe they just love the fact it's a Chevy Silverado, which is a fantastic truck. Find out for yourself. You go to Heiser.com. Look at all their new and pre-owned vehicles, or go to one of their great locations and you can check them out yourself, maybe even test drive one. You can find all of this, of course, online at Heiser.com. You can also schedule service appointments, maybe body shop work. It's one of the reasons that Heiser is so great at customer service because they put their customers first. All the great programs, I've talked about it before. Ask about those programs when you're in one of their offices, one of their locations, and you'll be amazed at what they can do for you. It's why they can say every day at Heiser Automotive, today's your day.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Rejuvenex.com.
You only get one chance to make a first impression, and that goes double for your home listing, because that's how you're going to get the most value. By having a customized marketing plan specific to your property with professional photos, global marketing, and the built-in experience that Century 21 Benefit Realty has brought to the table since 2004. And being joined with Century 21 just makes all of the above stand out that much more. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
So how is that possible? 1.9% real estate commission? There must be something you're not telling me.
I hear that a lot. The truth is, everybody could do it, but they choose not to because folks keep paying more than they have to. I guess they just haven't heard yet that Century 21 Benefit Realty can make that 1.9% real estate commission promise on the sale of your home and stick to it. So I'd like to think that's going to make your decision easy. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
Oh, man, I saw this last night, and again, I'm not a big theater goer, but I picked the shows carefully, and Beautiful Noise at the Marcus Center was lights out, awesome, standing O at the end. Every one of the performances was outstanding. The lead singer, who played young Neil Diamond, and his second wife, Marcia, who's a big part of his life, 25 years they were married. She's stunning, both in her ability to sing and dance. And I'm not a theater critic, but blew us away. My wife and I saw it last night. If you get a chance, it's there until the weekend. I'm not chilling for the Marcus Center, but that was something worth seeing. And everybody knows Neil Diamond, because as you're sitting there listening, you're hearing, song after song, hit after hit. And you'll amaze yourself the songs you've forgotten that he actually did. And Josh, I told you this before you started talking, that we learned that he actually wrote some hit songs for the Monkees, like I'm a Believer. I did not know that before last night. So some cool stuff.
Yeah, very cool.
Take your wife out to the theater on occasion.
Yes, sir.
That's a great date night, by the way. And I've met your wife. Take her to the theater. She'll enjoy it. All right, I got to tell you this. Gruber Law Office's Thanasis Live is back March 29th, Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Join Thanasis for a live show that's going to entertain fans like none other. Remember last year, he surprised with the MVP, Giannis Antetokounmpo, with a surprise from ESPN Stephen Smith. So you never know what Thanasis and Thanasis have planned for 2025. March 29th, that's coming up. Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Get your tickets to Gruber Law Office's Thanasis Live right now. Actually saw David Gruber last night. You can visit taliveshow.com, taliveshow.com. Get your tickets. Excitement and entertainment you can get anywhere else. It's Gruber Law Office's Thanasis Live, presented by Potawatomi Casino Hotel in Carbliss, featuring Brandon Jennings and a surprise guest. That's the big one. Also supported by the Prisoner Wine Company and McDonald's, taliveshow.com. All right, I want to ask you a big picture question, because I know you pay attention to this stuff. You are not just a local leader, you're a political animal as well. The story, and I believe that this was sort of a lack of judgment, lack of security with the sort of the open text exchange about the plans for a military operation. Department of Defense, high-ranking military officials. Jeffrey Goldberg from The Atlantic, their editor-in-chief, is on this text exchange. He's now published the entire scroll of text. As a local leader, but someone who pays attention to this stuff, what's the response? What's your response to stuff like that when you see stories like this?
First of all, of all the people to end up on that text thread, to have Goldberg, the guy that's on there, is stunning. I mean, his history. I don't know how that happens, but I mean, cybersecurity is a humongous issue. And I don't know about you here at TMJ, but at the county, we've just hired a cybersecurity expert.
You have to
help train our staff because mistakes easily happen. It's so simple to accidentally hit, reply all or add someone to a thread, or it's scary. Cybersecurity stuff is really, really scary, and I think it's a huge priority. Of course, everything's political right now, and everything is blown out of proportion. So it's hard to tell what's 100% the truth. But the bottom line is mistakes happen, and you got to have really good training and protocols in place to make sure it doesn't happen.
I know you've been very active in Republican circles. You're a strong conservative for Washington County. Do you support, like a lot of local leaders and especially sheriffs in the state of Wisconsin, law enforcement, the candidacy of now Judge, former AG Brad Schimmel.
Yeah, undoubtedly. I mean, Brad has been an outstanding judge. He was a phenomenal attorney general. I mean, I think one of the things that really sets him apart is our conversation earlier. And I know he can't talk about it. They can't prejudge cases. But this Act 10 thing, if you don't buy into the possibility that a liberal Supreme Court in the next 3 years, because all the upcoming Supreme Court races are against incumbent conservatives. But if you don't buy into all the reforms that Governor Walker made, whether it's right to work, whether it's concealed carry, voter ID, all of those things, and go back farther, Tommy Thompson, school choice reform, welfare reform, the importance of the Supreme Court being in place to protect that. If you don't buy that, then Act 10 will hit you in the pocketbook hard. And you're talking thousands of dollars a year, more than likely, depending on your school district. Brad Schimmel's the firewall. He really is. If you want someone who's going to protect the state constitution, he's the guy.
He is Josh Shulman, Washington County Executive. After the break, some fun stuff happening in Washington County. I always like to end on a fun, positive note.
Woohoo!
Text if you'd like, 855-616-1620. A lot of great texts today, a lot of great storytelling that even happens on the text line on occasion. So I appreciate each and every one of you. A lot of Neil Diamond fans as well. All right, we'll take a quick break here. Listening, of course, to the Hump Day edition, Political Power Hour, 620 WTMJ.
When we're out in your town, come say hi to us as we broadcast live from the Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin mobile studio.
Anytime you hear us when we're out on the road, you can find us live from our brand new mobile studio.
Whether it be Summerfest, EAA, Opening Day, Air and Water Show,
wherever we may be, you can see us on the radio, live from the Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin mobile studio.
We are Wisconsin's radio station.
Wisconsin's radio station.
We are Wisconsin's radio station.
We are Wisconsin's radio station.
WTMJ.
Hey, it's WTMJ, Steve Scaffidi for Annex Wealth Management. Whether you're with Annex or not, support is just a quick call or visit away. But what you need might be different than your neighbor. Annex gets that. Whether you're sorting out Social Security strategies, exploring investment opportunities or possibilities, or digging into annuity reviews, or pension analysis, they've got you covered. It's all about what you need, not chasing commissions. As a fee-only fiduciary, Annex brings a powerhouse team to the table. I've met all these folks, CFPs, CFAs, CPAs, PhDs, lots of smart people there, wealth strategists, attorneys. They focus on your success. You might be figuring out the best time to claim Social Security, sizing up your tax burden, or checking if your investments are working harder or just tripping over each other. Heading towards retirement means facing a lot of these big calls. It's easy to let a few slip away. That's where Annex Wealth Management steps in. Ready to take charge? Know the difference. Get things going at annexwealth.com today.
The wait is over. Brewers baseball is back. Time to pick your Brewers games and get back to the ballpark for tailgate traditions and walk-off wins. Be here for opening day. Come back for the big games and the best giveaways. Where else would you want to be? Brewers tickets for the 2025 season are on sale now. That's opening day and every game, all summer long. Get on board for the show today. Grab your seats at brewers.com/ticket finder.
Your basement. Ooh, wall cracks. Oh no, seepage. And stains on the bottom of those walls. Terrifying. The only thing scarier than basement issues are businesses that prey on your fear over those terrifying foundational cracks. The team at Gatish Foundation never uses high-pressure sales tactics. Over 90% of Gatish Foundation's jobs are through referrals. So, for an honest opinion on the condition of your basement, call Gatish Foundation today. Spelled G-A-I-Dish. Gatish.com.
Gruber Law Office's Thanalysis Live is back. March 29th at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Join Thanasis Adetokunpo for a live show that's sure to entertain like none other. Last year it was a surprise appearance from ESPN's Stephen A. Smith. You never know what Thanasis has planned for 2025. Get your tickets to Thanalysis Live right now. Visit ESPN Milwaukee on Twitter for event and ticket info. It's Gruber Law Office's Thanalysis Live, presented by Potawatomi Casino Hotel and Carbless. Also supported by the Prisoner Wine Company and McDonald's.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Oh, definitely a Neil Diamond themed show today, which is amazing because I saw that show last night. Beautiful noise at the Marcus Center. Go check it out. All right, Josh Shulman, Washington County Executive. I love this story because I love to highlight local organizations, local businesses. And this one, one of your county course in Washington County, top 50 in the country public golf course. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. They're oftentimes ranked number one in the state.
But it goes beyond that. There's a really cool connection for veterans' mental health. Talk about it a little bit.
Yeah. So we are partnering with an organization called Next 18. And if you're a golf fan, when you watch the Masters, when you watch the U.S. Open, you're probably going to hear more about Next 18. They are one of two nonprofit organizations endorsed by the PGA. Their mission specifically is near and dear to my heart. As you know, I'm a veteran of Operation Iraqi Freedom, dedicated the rest of my life to the service and sacrifice of those guys who didn't make it back, guys and gals who didn't make it back in whole or in part, and my Lord. And so this work is super important. They are really trying to help vets and first responders who experience trauma, PTSD, and give them avenues to cope with that. So golf is, of course, building community and helping with it, but also therapies and self-treatment, and then building a community of alumni network. They're awesome. The executive director is originally from Germantown, golfed in high school at the county course, so it's full circle. It's an awesome story.
What I love about this story is, one, I mean, getting out to golf is just a fun pastime for anybody, but the fact that we know that, and I've reported on this and talked about this on the show, the rise of PTSD, mental health issues for our veterans, and I always want to say this, of all the groups in this country that we don't do enough for, veterans are probably top of the list, and I struggle with why that's the case, because we certainly have to look out for those folks. And when I see programs like this that talk about mental health from a sort of in a different way, to encourage people to get out there and get help, nothing more valuable than that recommendation.
What people often forget is they think, the veteran who kicked doors in or did this, or the cop who saw a tragedy in Oak Creek or in Madison. But when you're in those jobs, you're hyper vigilant all the time. If you were in a war zone, if you were on the street, there's trauma that happens constantly. Even a massive car accident. Those are things that people need to unwind. They need to get their head around. They need to talk to somebody. Programs like this that make it fun with golf are excellent ways to support your vets and local first responders.
Real quick before we get out of here, I saw some of your numbers. Pre-voting, early voting is way up in Washington County.
Way up.
What does that suggest to you?
Well, our election integrity efforts are working 100%. By incentivizing local municipalities to allow for more in-person absentee, every county in the state of Wisconsin ought to be doing it, and I'm going to be talking to them about doing that.
Good things happening in Washington County. Josh Shulman, county executive. And also, something you do really very well, branding.
Yeah.
If you're watching the stream, he's got the swag.
Yeah, get out and vote between now and April 1st.
All right, that's the show for today. Be back tomorrow, of course, with our Thursday edition. Hope you enjoyed the Neil Diamond. Go check it out, Marcus Center. I'm not shilling for them. It just was a fantastic performance of A Beautiful Noise. All right, news is next. 620 WTMJ.
It's a beautiful noise going on everywhere.
Election alert. Calling all conservative patriots. On Tuesday, April 1st, there is an election to decide the future of Wisconsin's Supreme Court. Woke liberals from New York and California